Song about buckler or something.
Yeah. Okay, so now everything's, and I just moved everything down to the 4 o'clock hour just for some. So yeah, you guys do your talking, do your stuff, whatever you want to do.
Is the roller derby clean thing moved
I
down
did not.
there?
Thank you. Not. And one of us is paying attention. There we go. Sweet.
I was gonna say I've never used this program, but I use a lot of DJ programs.
Good.
So.
And headphones, if you want to do that, make sure everything, those are there. Just to make sure everything sounds good. I'm going to go start the recording, which happens on another computer back here.
Well, I'm gonna look up on my swamp. Bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't really have anybody yet, but yeah, we're alright. They think in 4 o'clock, so we're okay. No worries. And then see.
837 3rd Street in downtown Crescent City, or give them a call at 707-465-1152. If you need to spell it out, custom design graphics will make sure it's smooth.
This is Ted Ward, Director of the Delmore Solid Waste Management Authority, announcing our commercial oil recycling service. Recycling is the only legal way to dispose of used motor oil. Transport your used motor oil securely in a non-leaking drum or container to the Delmore County Transfer Station. Oil must be free of antifreeze, gasolines, solvents, or water. Motor oil can pollute soil, groundwater, and our rivers and ocean.
Okay, I'll be right across the driveway listening, man.
Awesome.
Have a great show.
Thank you, brother.
Can't wait to hear it,
Appreciate
man.
Oh, me too. I'm excited. We are excited. Oh yeah.
For more information, check our website at recycledelmore.ca.gov or call us at the Delmore Solid Waste Management Authority at 465-1100.
KFUG thanks the Delmore Solid Waste Management Authority. Another 500 of your community radio station. Hey, good morning.
Right? Oh man. Thank you, brother, for letting me do this with you. I appreciate it.
It's gonna be amazing.
Man. Oh man, it's gonna be so much fun. So much fun.
There's cool things about the community.
Oh, so much. Well, do you have a couple of things? Oh, we want to talk about that.
Be involved and get in tune to K-Club Fridays at
Oh yes, nice.
relevant shows of community service with me, Jeff Ball.
Sweet. Love it.
Because these are things that right now me and Dar are currently trying to get. So
Cool. Good. Good, because I might just grab one and just kind of start talking to you
like
about
this is
it.
the one. Well, because like we're talking about like doing electric vehicle, like electric bikes, and doing like a class where it'd be like a small high school class where they build the bike, they get to use the bike, and then they get to learn how to all that technology and stuff works, and then those bikes would go into a donation of bikes to get to use. Because we live in a small town, we don't really have.
Yeah.
If you could just hop on a freaking bike and just tool anywhere you wanted, like anytime.
And then on Facebook, I was scrolling. They have this new electric bike that goes 60 miles. It goes 60 miles on one charge.
Oh, we could easily, when we start making our own motors, we could make them that we could take it to Arcata back.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Can you turn this up just a little bit? I love this song. She was built like a refrigerator with a head. All her buddies called her Spike. Yeah.
I honestly don't know which one's the volume from here. Because that's tuning.
Down in the arena. That's alright, no worries.
I don't want to break anything. I know what these do. This is a pretty cool computer program. See, I would assume it would be these. Alright, we got 59.
Down in the arena. Do you? I've talked into one of those. Jason and Jacob used to have one. And they built a studio in their closet. We went in there, man.
Same brand too.
I got to do a couple of skits for them and do a couple of things. Dude, I got this voice. I can do these things, you know. It's fun. It's so fun. Well, thank you for joining us today on DTL Radio, and this is our first show. This is Dandy, my buddy Ben. Thank you guys for joining us today. And Ben, how was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was fantastic. Spent some time at the kids' garden. Got a bunch of seeds donated to us for organic vegetables. Excited to talk about that.
Yes.
How was your weekend? You know, you went on a little trip?
I had an amazing trip. So we did our show Friday and headed up to Leavenworth, Washington. Made it to Salem and found a Denny's. Oh my gosh. If you make it to Salem, go to the Denny's there. The Denny's there is just absolutely amazing. I met this really nice lady who, no joke, was left-handed. And she's this waitress, right? So she's taking my order and I was like, oh, you're a lefty. And she said, I am. And I said, oh, well, hold on a second. So I went out and got my book and I showed her and couldn't believe it, right? Couldn't believe it. Really amazing lady. I gave her a card and I told her I was going to stop back in. I didn't. I will be back. I promise. Don't get mad. I'll be back. And then I made it up there noon. It was beautiful. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Leavenworth, Washington, especially in January, bring chains, I promise. But just the drive is beautiful. It's white everywhere. It's like you're in a winter wonderland. And especially with the holidays we just got through, it was just one of the most breathtaking views. I took a little bit of video of it.
It probably doesn't even do it justice.
Doesn't even do it justice. It really doesn't. I got to my place and this really, really amazing little hostel kind of camping community kind of thing. It's called the Lodge, L-O-G-E. Ooh. Amazing. A really amazing place. The people there are really, really spectacular. If you go there, don't go anywhere else. It's really expensive. Go there. You'll love it. I promise. I went down to the fest hall where the thing was at, and I checked in, and people there in Leavenworth are just so friendly. Just so they're willing to smile at you, even if you don't have a smile on, they'll smile at you.
It's contagious.
Yes, it is. And so we had a really great time. Some of the team names. Now when you get into sports, right? You look at some of the names that are out there for NFL, NBA, and it's the city and this really animal or vegetable or mineral or whatever it is that the team wants. Dude, some of these teams, and this is the Bavarian Brews Fest for 2019. These teams are the Apple City Roller Derby, which is amazing. The Trampires Roller Derby. The Trampires. I mean, these girls are awesome too. The Blair Hits Project. That's one of my favorites. The Avalanche City Roller Derby. The Rainier Roller Girls. From Mount Rainier, right? And when I was driving up, there's Crater Lake, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Rainier. 3 parks. I'm going to all 3 this summer. I'm taking the boys, man. We're going, right? And just to run a trail through them, it's going to be beautiful. The Bellingham Roller Betties, they were really cool. And the Spokanables Roller Derby, the Spokanables, right? And the names for some of these girls,
very inventive.
Very inventive. Stabby. It was Stabby Slice, I think was her full name on the board. And she's a beast. I mean, I'm telling you, man, she's a beast. Explosive Starlet. What a really cool name. Another lady named Cyanide.
Sounds like a video game.
It really does, right? Like
Yeah.
you're expecting to play some Fortnite on roller skates. And I met this really cool lady. Her name is Bones. And Bones is, she's I don't know, like 5'5" and just very
On skates.
On skates. And the charisma and just the smile from her. She's outside and people are just walking by and talking, and she's just saying hi to everybody. So we had a conversation for a few minutes. Amazing young lady, you know, and this is all volunteer. I don't know if a lot of people really understand, but roller derby is 100% volunteer. And even when the commentators have to go pay for a beer or a patch, the roller derby girls even have to pay for the things that they use, you know, and it's expensive. Those skates are $200, you know, and they might have a sponsor, but it really doesn't pay. It might pay for gas or lodging. So if anybody ever gets a chance to really go see a roller derby team, go see a game. I highly recommend it. Even if you're not for sports, the fact that these women just kind of volunteer not only their time, but their money, their mentorship, you know, and then the trophies for these things. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk. I'm really not. But, you know, like in first, second grade, when you make that thing and you give it to your parents, it's kind of like what these trophies are. But they're the coolest trophies, like ever. And I know that one team, they use Barbie dolls. And they have a roller skate, and they have the Barbie doll posed on a roller skate. And, you know, it's really nifty and like really cool. So for that kind of aspect, to be able to bring that to a city, and, you know, I know that Leavenworth already has a huge community for things. And it is a Bavarian town. It's like one of the oldest Bavarian towns on the West Coast or in North America. The Bavarian heritage. I don't know if you've ever been to Germany.
Not yet, but I am part German, and I do know that the Germanic tribes have a long history.
Yes.
German and Sanskrit are very, very, very similar.
They are. So, you know, if you get a chance to go to Germany as well, I mean, go. The culture there is just beautiful. So yeah, I got to have some really good food. I got to watch some amazing skates. Saturday night, the last game came down to the wire. I mean, like everybody was on their feet. They were screaming. They were pumping, and you know, this is one of those sports where even the fans get into it, like on the track. You know, after the game, all the fans come out of the chairs. They all come down from the bleachers. They line around the track. They put their hands out, and the skaters skate around and high five the fans.
That's awesome.
You don't see that in the NFL. You don't see that in the NBA. Like ever. People are too busy making billions of dollars to care what is happening, you know, and LeBron takes his
Well, most of the time when they do something, you know, quote unquote nice, you know, it's part of their sponsorship and you know, their contract.
Yeah, you know. Here, throw a sweat-soaked jersey to the crowd.
Yeah.
Yay! I got it.
Or go to this place for this photo op. You know?
And so, you know, it's really inspiring to see these women give their time, and you know, like you watch younger ladies like rooting for their thing, and you can see their mind. What is my name going to be? What is my roller derby name?
Well, it's really empowering. It's a culture. You know, it's
a culture. I tell you,
Yeah.
It's one of the most amazing fun cultures. It's like, remember when we went to Ferry Festival down in Arcata last summer? It was a lot like that. You know, and some of the most vibrant costumes and face painting. I mean, these girls don't just slap on a helmet and skate and run around. No, they've got face paint.
Yeah, they're in costume.
I mean, this one, like, I wish I could remember her name, but she had like this painted on mustache and like the little thing down here. She was wearing shoulder pads. I mean, like shoulder pads. You know, she's ready to go. And one of the coolest things is I love football. I love watching and playing it. This is like football on skates. Some of the things these girls do, you and I would look at each other and be like, nope, I can't even do that walking. But the fact that these women like spin inbounds, I mean, the skate is only like 8 feet wide or 10 feet wide, and the fact that they can bounce from inside the line on a curve and twirl and land inbounds and keep skating.
Oh, last time I was at a skating rink wearing, you know, the old school skates. You know, I mean, I can go around in circles decently well, and Yeah, there was definitely a roller derby team there practicing, and you know they would go around, you know, in their tight line.
Right.
I mean, just
Man.
like nothing, you know. And very graceful.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
graceful.
It's beautiful to watch, you know. So, and then I
It's figure skating with passion.
With passion. It is right with
Yeah.
passion
Yeah.
and better names,
Mm-hmm.
much better names.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Music's
sorry, Michelle
probably a
Kwan.
little-
I don't mean anything.
Music's
but-
probably a little cooler too.
Oh yeah, you know, and it's nothing against like, you know, Tanya Harding and Michelle Kwan, but like Bones and Stabby and Explosive Starlet, huge fans, you know. So I had a great time. I came home Sunday. What a beautiful drive home Sunday. I got to see my boys and got excited for the show, you know. And,
Oh, the drive along the West Coast is one of the most beautiful.
I didn't go the 101 though. I should have taken the 101.
There's always time to do that.
Should've.
But you know, the 101, in my personal opinion, is a drive meant to be savored, and you take your time because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many beautiful little towns to stop at. So many, you know, cool little. You know, like think about when we go to Arcata, you know, and Trinidad, Coos Bay is amazing.
Bay.
Yeah, I need to go to that railroad museum.
Let's go Friday.
Yeah.
We'll be up there next Friday.
Yeah.
Right. I'll see if Dawn and Mike can maybe like meet us up there.
It's right off the 101.
Yeah.
I remember driving up to Portland that way, and
So
I saw it.
I'll message Dawn after the show and I'll see if
Awesome.
we can go over there because I don't think it's far from their house either.
Yeah, I
You
like
know,
choo-choos.
You like choo?
I like choo-choos.
Well, remember we got the Harry Potter train set too, so you can
I
put
still
that.
need to go to Harry Potter World.
You can put that together when we do that.
Mm.
But you know, and it was amazing. I couldn't wait to get back and really share. And you know, some of the people I've had. I really want to be a commentator next year. So Apple City Roller Derby, whatever it is I got to do to be a commentator, even for an hour, I don't care. Those people up there, that man and that lady. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, he's over there, he's talking from the beer booth, right? He's talking and he put the microphone in his pocket and he's carrying the beers back while he's trying to talk. I mean, you know,
Just having a good time.
my kind of people. We could have so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I want to go next year. So hopefully you'll go with me and maybe we could do some kind of live kind of feed thing and
Technology is available.
technology.
The technology
Right.
is available.
So, but yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It really was. But other than that, it was great. How was your thing? So you did the kids garden on Friday after our show.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a fourth grade class, which unfortunately was not able to show. But you know, we took care of you know, a few of the beds around there. We're trying to get you know, more beds. Also doing some, you know, sample, you know, what we see as easy front yard gardens.
Oh,
and
okay,
everything.
right.
Well, because grass is beautiful, don't get me wrong. And I really do love like golf courses and really nice manicured places. But, you know, we have to spend our time or spend money and get the tools to, you know, keep that. When really, and I'm not saying we have to replace every yard and all our yards are grass with gardens, but we could be growing stuff that we can eat. And,
Right.
you know, and when I was a kid, I used to help my, you know, this old neighbor down the street, take out the garbage and mow the lawn and do stuff like that. You know, why can't we get more people involved with, you
Does
know,
that
like,
still happen today?
I'm sure in some capacity.
Now let's see. Are there kids still today that will take their lawn mow? I know one kid. I saw this dude like over the summer. Did you see him too?
I think so, because
Kind of
I know
taller
it
dude,
exists.
right?
Yeah,
Taller kid.
I know it exists.
So you know, we're not really a generation anymore of going out and doing something
Go-getters.
because we have these little devices attached to our hands. So
the smartphone.
but is it really smart?
Well, it's smart, but I mean that's up to debate.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing about it is smartphones are a great thing, and they can be used very well, and they can be up your productivity for sure. But there are so many distractions that come with a smartphone that make it so easy to be like, oh, let's just play this game, or you know, hey, ironically we're on YouTube right now, but you know, like
Ben,
we've
come
all,
do the dishes.
you know-
Let me do this really quick.
yeah, or it's just like, you know, I'm going down this rabbit hole on YouTube for the next 5 hours, you know, like
Yeah.
I started looking at this and now I'm looking at kitten videos, you know, because right, that's what the internet's for.
But that's what I love, and that's what I really am passionate about you and Dar doing this kids garden, and Manah. So Alex Manah bringing his class over from Joe Hamilton, and being able to show that there's things to do outside of a device, outside of the home, not just sitting back and doing
when
nothing.
we did Gateway. And
thank you, Ron Cole.
yes, thank you, Ron Cole. You're an amazing human.
And you're not. You say you're not a guru, but I
tend to disagree.
Disagree.
We're all gurus in our own rights, and different paths. And you have created a wonderful path of
very much so. Thank you.
Gracious things, and being an outsider to this area, coming from another place and seeing the beauty around here, it's absolutely gorgeous, and we have so much available to us, even close. I mean, I've walked, from town all the way through Stout Grove, all the way up, to Sand Camp.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I remember that.
That was a walk. I don't recommend that to everyone, but when we did Gateway, I just found it so incredible that there'd be kids that had never gone to these parks that a 15-minute drive from town, from downtown.
Yeah.
And it's just, we have, there's so much out here, and there's so much for us humans to enjoy. And I'm not saying that, electronics are bad, because I love electronics. I very much, like tinkering with them and building stuff. But, we've become, instead of using, and I hate to throw around terms like this, but instead of using them as a device to help us, we've become slaves to the devices to help us.
We have. I was never one for using a calculator in school, because if you can't get it worked out on a piece of paper, then you really have no point using it. And how much of that math do we really use today?
Well,
how much of that anything?
Well, I use some of it, and I ironically laugh at that, because it's just like, I remember my teachers telling me, some goofy stuff. Like one, well, it's not like you're ever gonna, have a device, to carry around with you with a calculator on it. Well, at that time I had one of them cool Casio watches that had one, so, and cell phones, woo.
Here you go, Mr. David, I got mine.
Yeah, and I just find it ironic that, there is a lot of stuff that we teach our children that, depending on the fields and what they are interested in,
Right.
The general education's great. But the thing is when we start to generalize it too much for so long, we lose focus. And I always joke around like, hey, parallelogram season. I am so glad that I know parallelograms, because it helps every parallelogram season.
What about the palindrome? Do you know what a palindrome is?
Yes, I do, but I am trying to place it in my foggy mind.
Same thing forward as it is backwards, right? So like Madam, Mom, Dad,
Hannah,
race car,
Illuminati.
Yeah, Illuminati. One way or another, flip it upside down. It says bring me coffee. So, but that's what I do love and appreciate about you and Dar, is that you guys get these kids out there, and the kids garden over there at the First Five. What's the address over there? It's on Pacific.
It's on
Pacific.
Pacific, right? And it's right across from Crescent Elk. Mackin is the street on the back end of it.
So what a great program though, and Dar started this with basically nothing.
Yes.
Right. A lot of people might not have seen the interview that we did with Dar not too long ago, but that's on my on the YouTube channel. Yes. Right. Just a few weeks ago. And Dar Caldwell, I like to call him the Lorax. Where he's all about the forest. He's all about the trees and inspiring and how to look within to be able to really be the better you. How do we do that? And
well, I mean, one of the things that to me blew me away when I first met him is, I people that know me know that I tend to be very passionate about my things, and jump to certain ways of thinking sometimes. Right. And, just the calmness that he presents in all these situations. Sometimes it's too calm, but
oh no!
And we lost power.
It looks like it's flickering, but it's all right because we're still on YouTube. But
that's crazy.
Having Dar do his things, and it's really kind of cool because so he came over to the house. Sorry, I brain farted.
No.
But so he came over to the house and he took Sky and Jake and and Emily and Taylor with him to go do stuff at the kids' garden, and he was asked, are you sure you can handle all these kids? He's like, yep. So I'm pretty sure we'll have some help here in a minute. Oh, did I call it or what?
Phone power's back on just now?
Yes.
Jesus. Okay.
And I said just before we walked in, we're going to have some help here in just a minute.
Yeah, this is the third time today.
And and he walks in. I'm telling you, I called it. But and hey, it's technology. It's technology. It's today. Nothing lasts forever. Name me one thing other than my grandmother that has lasted for the last 4,000 years. One thing.
Like a couple things, maybe.
Maybe.
But the ironically hilarious
Okay,
thing.
I'm not seeing any levels here.
Oh, I just turned these down because I didn't know about.
So we're back. You'll broadcast now. It'll be a second. You'll be back online.
Okay.
So you're back on the air.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but
There we go.
again, name me one thing for the last 4,000 years other than my grandmother that has survived or has lasted. Like even washers and dryers today. You're going to buy one and in 2 years you're going to have to replace something because of a warranty issue. But in the 50s, 60s, these washing machines are still working today.
Oh, well, the funny thing is now you can get an old refrigerator like they used to, but
$4,000.
And what I find so ironically, like we just had a power outage. Now, like, how is it that we've had all these great breakthroughs in technology? Okay, all this amazing things, but there's been no upgrades to electricity, like the way we get it. Yes, I know there's
We
solar
landed
panels,
on the moon.
Yes.
Jim Carrey, I will never forget that.
You know,
right? So I landed on the moon.
I mean, we landed on the moon in the 60s, okay, and we, talked to the people as they were landing on the moon. We got video feed of them landing on the moon, but why can't we get any feeds of us doing cool stuff like that? We get these sweet computer animations.
Well, everything is given to us in time, right? So some of the movies in today, they're trying to get us ready for certain things. WALL-E, The Simpsons. The Simpsons for the last 20 years has predicted everything. Everything, right? And it's kind of scary.
Like autocorrect and like just and there's some really weird examples in there too that are just I don't know. I find it funny.
I'm looking forward to the next 20 years. I really am.
Oh,
Because if Back to the Future showed us a few things and some of those things are coming in, and even though they're going to be 24 and a half years late, I'll wait for them. That's great. The lace-up sneakers, I don't care. I'll be 70 putting those in.
Like we look at my dad's, era and stuff, and, my dad got to go to Tomorrowland. Like he got to go to the World's Fair, 1964. And, like, think about, like, the future that they were, talking about then. And even the future that they were talking about at the turn of the century. I mean, we have the technology to do this stuff.
We do, and it's really kind of scary if you think about it. It's also, personally, it's kind of inspiring. I've never been a technological person, and everybody can see that because of what side of the radio booth we're sitting on, right? I'm on the side with nothing, and I get to look at wires. Fun one sitting on the side of the Millennium Falcon. And
all the knobs.
He's kind of the Han, Chewie, and I'm just C-3PO. That's okay. I'll be C-3PO. I don't mind. He still gets shined up at the end of every movie.
It's funny that you mentioned like Star Wars and a amazing story that's based off of other amazing stories, and I just love the fact too that. You're a person that finds the amazing in everything.
Oh,
and
I try. Give me a challenge. Give me a challenge. I accept every challenge. Whatever it is. You give me something.
Well,
anybody.
talking about like C-3PO and Han, the other fun thing about life once you start really looking into the fun things about life.
Right, right.
You know, and I'm not saying partying and stuff like that, but like, you know, things that give you like true gratification, you know, and that's one thing I love about the gardens and stuff like that. You know, building stuff, you get to see this, you know, develop.
The fruits of
You
your
know,
labor.
and hey, if Johnny can throw a football amazing and he's amazing at that, that is freaking awesome. And not push, but give him all the, you know, the energy that he needs to go
Right.
do stuff like that, because we all play our own characters and we all are, you know what I mean? And the funny thing is the way that life gets presented to us sometimes is you have to fall into these character types. Otherwise, you aren't going to be accepted,
Right.
and you aren't, you know, truly, you know, a part of this.
So I'm glad that you said that, because I was thinking about that the other day when we were talking about the whole individuality thing, right? And it kind of got to me, and I started looking at it on a society level today. And let's take the last 40 years, right? So I'm born in 76, but I'm 26 years old. I can't explain that either.
I'm this many.
We're this many, right?
Yeah.
But when we look at the individuality of things, society tells us we want you to be an individual, but not like that. Well, wait a second. What kind of individual can I be? Because if you tell me to be everything I am,
You better not be an unscannable individual.
and if you want me to be me, right, and you're telling me inspire, be everything that you can, just give me your heart, give me your soul, your passion, but don't do it that way. It's kind of like when you get into a relationship, right, and somebody tells you that they love you for all you are. Don't change. You're amazing. I love the way you do all this. And then 6 months goes by, and I love but can you just not do
Can
this
you
anymore?
stop doing this? Can
Yeah.
you stop that? And let's say you play that game, and a couple years go by, and then, well, you aren't the person that I thought. You know, well, I don't get to do any of the things
Right.
that made me the person I was.
And I heard the most amazing story, inspiring story about this. And I won't say who they are, but this man, this mentor in my life, was telling me that he and his wife were having dinner one night. They'd been married a few years, having dinner one night, and because of her traditions, she began blowing wind and stuff, air between her teeth. And he'd been listening to this for several years, and he was just finally, you know, like, it's kind of annoying. So he said, can you let her stop doing this? And as clear as day, he heard a voice tell him, sure, I will take her from your life. He's like, no, I don't want her gone. This thing is kind of annoying. And he heard the voice say, yeah, but it's part of her. You fell in love with this person, all of her. You accepted every part of this person. You don't get to say, I'm going to pick you apart now and I don't like this. Because now you just maybe don't need them. No, I'll deal with it. And 14 years later, dealing with it.
Everyone. We've been taught to, you know, aggressively look at situations and, you know, be combative about most things.
Right.
And with relationships, usually it's not, there's a problem and we need to fix this. There's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's a problem
Right.
between, you know, you and
Right.
the other person, when instead of it's like, well, we make this amazing team.
Nobody's
Dude,
looking at it from the other point of view.
let's go take this problem out.
Right. Nobody's looking at it from the other point of view. You know, and that's kind of the problem about society. You and I are always talking. Our buddy Zay is always talking about it's a division world now. You know, they're trying to divide everybody to pick a side.
Yep.
I don't want to pick a side. I want to be in the middle.
I want to be with that.
Because the middle's where it's at.
You know,
like.
Well, you know my look. You know, and I will keep saying this. You know, it's like music concerts or going to a freaking bar. You know, you go into a certain area of group of people, and you know they're listening to country music. You know what kind of music to expect. You know what kind of party there's gonna be. You know, like it's just. Why can't we play that way with everybody? You know, like I just, and I understand that it's sometimes really hard to, you know, look at someone else's view that you don't agree with, but at the same time, you know, we've gotten to the point where if someone's off doing whatever they're doing and they aren't coming into our life doing, forcing that upon us,
Right.
why do we feel the need to change them? Like it's, if no one's getting hurt, and and this is where the gray area comes in, because emotional pain, but but then we're also starting to like I like video games. Well, yeah,
Right.
I like video games, and it's just like the way people are getting offended by video games and stuff these days is just outrageous. I understood like the whole controversy behind
See what you
Grand
did,
Theft
Atari.
Auto.
See what you did.
Oh,
Atari
ruining
ruined
the
the world. But I'm glad. I
You
really
know-
am. There was that suitcase game, the luggage game.
Well, and one of my
You go
favorite
around
things
collecting-
is the whole, the Pac-Man thing, and I find that just ironic,
Pac-Man. What an icon.
Oh, well,
What an icon.
like,
Thank you, Pixels.
it's just sort of funny, because if you think about it, it's a person who, from their point of view, is free, but it's I don't know, that Bandersnatch thing, makes you think.
And today is a whole different world. We're still growing, and I kind of feel for some of the people that have had to watch some of the things, and they get lost. The electronics technology. I know 5% of what my phone does. 5%. My son, 95%. Oh, Dad, did you? No, I don't. No. Shh. You're gonna hurt my own feelings, son. Like, let me just be in my own little world and answer my phone, be able to send a text message and go live. That's all I need to do. But Dad, you need instant. I don't need anything instant, son. No, it'll help you with this, but I really don't think I need it. But you do. Trust me. So, even listening to that generation, I still don't know how to hook up my TV and PS4. I have a 12, 13-year-old for that. I had a dad to do that for me when I was a kid. I have friends to do things for me, because it's not that I don't want to. It's just that I'm kind of at that place in my life where, I've done things for so long a certain way that I learned all my tricks. And we don't like change. We're afraid of change. True or false?
Oh yeah,
Change
is scary.
You're leaving a relationship.
Scary.
You're leaving a job. You're leaving something you were comfortable with.
Well, and that's the whole comfort zone thing. Like it's very comfortable in your comfort zone, but you don't grow in your comfort zone.
Well, we left the 90s into tomorrow, and
you
what happened?
Grow in your comfort zone, but maybe just in personal human size, not
just kind of undo that belt a little bit more.
Change it to sweatpants. The belt doesn't work after a while.
Well, going from the 90s into the new millennium, that was also one of the scary times. People weren't sure what was going to happen with those zeros. Was everything going to shut down? And everything worked out. Everything works out.
Well, famously it was said, everything always works out in the end.
Yeah.
So if it's still a little messed up, that means, well, it's not over yet.
No.
Like, let it run its course.
Is it ever really over?
No.
It never really is, because there's also reruns.
Well, there's reruns, and
Nothing. I Love Lucy is never going off the air. That thing makes
scientifically, like energy is never created or destroyed. So it just changes forms.
Oh man. What about so what's another thing? What do we have coming up this weekend or next week for you, Ben?
Well, the one big thing that I really want to start pushing is I want to get, we got those seeds donated to us. Home Depot was nice enough to donate like half a very large box of organic vegetable seeds and some wildflower seeds. So
are they gluten-free seeds?
Maybe some of them.
Okay.
They were processed in a gluten factory, so you might want to be careful.
I only grow gluten-free seeds. That's it.
Are you a celiac?
No.
But yeah, no. So one of the beautiful things that we've been talking about is the small gardens in front of people's houses, but
Right.
at the same time, accessibility to started plants isn't necessarily hard, but it always costs money, and money is one of those dangerous subjects because, whether or not you want it or don't want it, it's here right now. We have to coexist with it, and we have to figure out better ways to coexist with it. But one of my favorite things is we have a lot of great programs in this town, and at the FRC they have a wonderful pantry there
Nice.
that a lot of people like to show up to. So one of the things that we were thinking about was pre-starting a bunch of these seeds, not only for the kids' garden and to try to get some other households to maybe want us and some kids to show up and do like a small pallet-sized garden to start you off.
Right.
Get you into the game and see what's up, and then people as they come to pick up stuff from the pantry, or people that come to visit the FRC, as the seasons come into, and when you're supposed to be planting stuff, we'll have a bunch of pre-started tomatoes, peppers, whatever else we can figure out. Already, in your little plastic pots, and you just grab them and go home and plant them.
I really have to throw a shout out right now to my cousin, because she's one of these really garden frugal people. She's like another Lorax almost, right? And so she had these tomatoes that were going bad, and instead of throwing them out or whatever, she washed them, cleaned all the seeds, and dried them, and then planted them. And I'm not joking. We probably have about 400 starts, right?
Yeah.
So I know it can be done. People don't need to go to Home Depot. People don't need to go to Ace. They don't need to spend money on things that people have already done. We have the technology in ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's just cleaning something. It's really hard to do, isn't it? Just to clean something.
I
cleaned the bathroom the other day.
I've seen.
I really did. I'm not joking.
Have some real difficulty with cleaning.
Right.
But the thing about it is everyone thinks gardening is very difficult, and yes, it's not the easiest per se. It does take a little bit of work to get it going. Patience, basically. Yeah.
Love, understanding.
But the beautiful thing is with like agriculture and other methods, you can get beds. So maybe the first year, you have to water it a bit more, but after that, you water it a few times a year. Like pick a weed or two.
There's and I think that there's a class coming up. I believe that there's a class coming up. I think it's CR. You know what? This week, let me look at it. I think that there's a thing coming up at CR. I can't remember.
Probably with Ben.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So
he loves agriculture as well,
yeah.
as well as Dar.
Well,
and looking into what can be done with that. I mean, yes, there is some sort of not rules, but guidelines that you need to follow. You can't just throw pine in there; it makes the soil too acidic for
right.
Growing and stuff like that.
And I'm sure that people with today's technology, people can Google it or Facebook it or Google it or whatever they're going to do.
And the funny thing about the whole being able to Google something right in your hand, the surprising fact is think about not saying that like you do have to be careful where you get your information from as well.
I love Wikipedia
because Wikipedia is hilarious sometimes.
One of my favorites.
But the funny thing is think about and I'm not talking about these existential like philosophy debates that we all have about things, but like, oh, I wonder about this fact about something that was built, and you'll sit there and argue over it for like a half hour when you could just look it up real quick. And
have you ever wanted to learn another language?
Always.
What is a language that you really want to learn? And I'm sorry to get off topic, but so I'm writing book 2, right? And now I know that people, I should have brought this copy, and I was hoping that our guest was going to be here, but it's okay. But I've been working on book 2, and you that's why I love Google, because you can how do you pronounce this, or how do you say that? And when we go back 1,500 to 2,000 years, there's languages that are lost. One of the languages I just want to learn basics on Hebrew. I really do. This is one of the most fascinating languages for me. I'm not Jewish. I'm not. I was baptized Christian once, and I love religion, but I'm getting more out of the religion part, and I'm fascinated by the world, the languages, the cultures.
Well,
You know, I've been to 24 countries, Ben.
Well, when
You know-
well, and the funny thing when you start talking, like, because when I was in school, one of my favorite subjects was history, you know, and I took some AP history classes on ancient civilizations, and there is a lot of history that we just aren't taught, and we just aren't even shown. And the one beautiful thing about this age of digital is it's becoming a lot easier for people to find this information.
What if we were to change it from history, because it's really his story, right?
Yes.
What if we were to change it from history to winner's story? Because the winner really is the one that gets to tell the tale that the world tells. And if the loser told the same story, but you know, like, oh, this, well, now you're just upset.
Well, you know,
Now you're just kind of trying to
and
throw a wrench
you're
in
a
it.
writer,
But
so you know the importance of words.
Oh, yes.
And wording things.
Yes.
And you know, I was in speech therapy for many years when I was younger, so pronouncing stuff sometimes is difficult to me. But you know, when you start to look into the I can't think of the word, but the type of language used when people say, like, theater of war, and you know,
Right.
and then you got I'm drawing a blank on some examples right now, but it's just, you know, it's really funny because if you look into the way a lot of things are worded and the roots of the words and the way that they use things, you can start to catch up a lot of
Contracts.
well, because it's just like
Every
you know,
third Thursday you can't water, but every second Wednesday you can water, but it can't be on the first Monday after the second Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, my cousin
What?
twice removed. You know, that person, Bobby Sue. You know, they heard this story.
I'm gonna let the dog just drink an extra bunch of water, and I'm gonna tell him to go outside and go water anyway. I don't care what day of the week it is. You know, that's if my city isn't gonna let me do it, there's got to be ways. And it's not like we live in a city anywhere where we have to worry about watering our lawns, especially like on a day today.
Yeah, yeah.
Today was just beautiful.
That thunderstorm was amazing, and I have a feeling it's going to be
man.
coming back.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And the lightning. I mean,
And the hail.
Oh,
I mean,
holy
that
moly.
was pretty interesting
I
too.
loved it. You know,
Mhm.
I took a 15-second video and I sent it to a friend of mine, and they were like, "Holy cow, this is just crazy." You know,
Well, I can't wait to see some of the videos from the Sierra Nevadas because
2 to 5 feet.
2 to 5 feet.
2 to 5 feet
Ooh.
of snow. So as we opened up our show this morning, or this afternoon, we had a song playing from the Jim Croce Band, "Roller Derby Queen." I had to throw that out there. One of my favorite songs. When I was on my trip in August, that was a song that was kind of one of our road songs. You know, there was that, and there was a couple others, but. You know what are? Oh, sorry, I had to get off topic. I'm really sorry. I just had that weekend, man. The weekend of watching these.
Well, you know,
watching this, it's just so
beautiful
inspiring.
thing Is
I almost want to get skates.
Well, what's inspiring is when you get a group of people together that are so passionate about something, and you know, me being someone that really isn't into sports. That is one thing that I really do enjoy about sports is seeing the passion and seeing everyone get behind something like that. You know, and that's one of the things that I find so beautiful about this area is we have such an opportunity to get behind passionate projects that just beautify and help simplify our lives as well.
Thank you for using that word, opportunity. You know, we live in a town, people say we don't have enough opportunities to do this. We don't have enough opportunities to do that. We have as many opportunities as the bigger cities on a smaller scale. We really do. We have jobs. We have an environment. We have sports. We have everything, right? You may not like doing this job, but guess what? It's a job. And if you don't want to do it, somebody else will. What an amazing community we live in, and I'm glad that you used the word opportunity because
Well, you know,
people may not take enough opportunities to grasp what Crescent City, Del Norte County, Humboldt County, and Curry County all have really to offer.
well, you know, and the thing about it is you know, nature provides. You know, that's the one thing. Like, you know, you look at pharmaceuticals. Most pharmaceuticals are made exactly. You know, it's a synthetic version of something you find in nature.
Right.
You know, like everything that we have synthetic is synthetic versions of something from nature.
But there's 8 or 10 elements that are created by man that shouldn't even be on the periodic table.
And so,
personal opinion.
Yeah, and we live in an area of nature's abundance, and going back to the whole, everything breaks, why don't we get back into the, more craftsman era? I mean, we have all this amazing tooling and technology, like
things in my opinion, things in the last 30 years have cost less to produce and gone up in price.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So if this is the case and everything's going out to the lowest bidder of things, why? When did that become a staple of society?
Well, it's funny because they always say follow the money, and there's this movie called The Other Guys. Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Gosh.
And I gotta say, at first I was a little disappointed.
I was petrified.
It took me a couple of watch throughs to sort of, appreciate it for what it was, because I will say I was probably like most people, the Samuel L. Jackson rock, duo dying right away. I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, they died?
I don't know.
Are you gonna wait? You're gonna tell me that in The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis was dead at the end too, aren't you?
I don't know. But
If the butler did it, I tell you
what. The craziest thing about the whole movie is we talk about this change, and it's been going on for a while. But at the end of the movie, the credits are all animated, and they are all giving statistics on CEOs and the change of how much they've gotten paid.
What is this movie? The Other Guys?
The Other Guys.
At the end?
At the end.
I don't watch the credits.
I don't
Unless it's a Marvel
either.
movie and there's something after.
I don't either.
After the end.
It was just one of those times that it was sitting in my Blu-ray player and it was playing through the credits, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is all this? And I started looking at it, and because I mean, it's pretty commonplace that we know that America versus other countries, the CEOs here in America make a ridiculous amount more than the average employee. But when you start to look at how much that changed and how fast it changed, it sort of goes into like the Wolf of Wall Street and the stuff that
we as a nation, we do like to complain that we don't have enough money. We don't have enough this. We're running out of that. But let's take a country like Turkey, and Turkey's their currency is like when I was there in 2000 and 2001, their currency was 1.7 million Turkish lira to the dollar. My hotel room was 6 million lira, less than $4, right? Their pilots and being in the military, we made really good money. Okay. I made 10 times the amount of money that their pilots in Turkey did. No joke. And that is sad.
Well, see,
sad. And we still complain that we don't have enough.
Well, because the problem is it's not that we don't have enough. It's just the skew of how money is portioned out, distributed.
Right, yeah.
Because the thing about it is I mean, think about it. At minimum wage, can you really, working 40 hours a week with minimum wage, really live a life?
If you have government assistance,
but see, this is
without the assistance or help or a roommate.
But and then exactly, and then with the government assistance, okay, cool, I get food stamps. But now if I manage to pick up a couple extra hours one week to make some extra money, they're gonna take away, so it's just there's a want to keep people at a certain level.
Can you think of a bright side for that though?
A bright side for that? The bright side of that all.
So you pick up 5 extra hours, right? And they take that out of your food stamps. What's a bright side of that? Somebody else less fortunate than you happened to be able to pick up that money for those 5 hours, and maybe they needed it. Right? I mean, devil's advocate. I mean, you know, there's always a bright side. We may not see it. We may be so upset that, you know what, like I can't get ahead. But when we get ahead, do we really feel like we're ahead?
Well, think about why does the billionaire still go to work?
Yeah. You know what? I want to be the world's first poorest billionaire. I want to have so much money I just give it away. Right? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have an abundance, but you're living in a home that is right next to the people that you grew up with. You have a decent car, you pay your bills, but you watch these other foundations and these other things grow. The Cancer Foundation, breast cancer, leukemia, testicular cancer, all these cancers that are, for whatever reason, taking people's lives. It's the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we have more people, CEOs, donating way more? I understand Bill Gates donates computers, and Warren Buffett
my
does his
question
thing.
is too, is
you know,
how are we where's all this money going? You know, because if we're putting all this money towards cancer research, I mean, you would think by now they might have found something. You know,
in the last 20 years, how much do you think has been donated to cancer research?
Well, I'm
Trillions.
pretty sure
Let's say trillions.
and how much of that goes towards champagne and caviar to try to get more money, because going to these big fancy dinners.
And that's sad to think about, isn't it? Even if it's not true, the fact that it's possibility.
We know it happens. Well, I mean, there's no denying that. On the scale of what's happening, that's all. But we know it happens.
Kind of like the White House offering pizza and McDonald's to Clemson. I'm sorry. I'm gonna steal that one for Thanksgiving next year. I'm gonna invite a bunch of people over and just have McDonald's. No, I wouldn't do that. I'd get beat up. I would. I wouldn't have any more friends.
Yeah, McDonald's is
I wouldn't, and it's no gluten free at McDonald's, so half my people wouldn't even show up anyway, and the other half are vegetarian.
And to think about, you can go to Carl's Jr. now and get that veggie burger.
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh yeah. Again, Carl's Jr. All I can think about is idiocracy.
Well, and we're winding down on our time, Benny. But it's I'm glad. Thank you for coming out here and doing this with me. This has been a lot of fun, and thank you KFUG Radio 101.1 FM and Paul Kritz. Thank you for giving us a really great platform to be able to grow on and get some words out to the community and inspire some people. I know that a couple of things coming up next week on the 23rd, Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the Delmore Library. I do have my book signing. I will have copies of books available for sale. I think I have 25. I also have some T-shirts that say Death to Lefties on them that will be for sale as well. Some other upcoming events. There's a poetry contest that was done today at Sunset School. I know that there's another one coming up soon. It's in February. Also at the Blue Lake Casino coming up is Sublime with Rome. Are you going to go? Are you down? Okay, so we got Sublime with Rome, and then the next day is Cypress Hill.
Oh, Insane in the Membrane.
So and it's a 4-day tattoo convention.
Well, I am
Subway,
so against tattoos.
And Subway is right down the street.
Ooh, I lived across the street from a 24-hour Subway in Chicago, and Subway.
What about what's your favorite sandwich shop? Do you have one what's your favorite shop in Crescent City, like restaurant?
I really enjoy Inoteca.
Do you?
I really enjoy going there. I feel good whenever
Courtney's
I go
an
there.
amazing owner, isn't she?
Yeah,
that whole crew.
Oh, they're just so amazing.
Both Courtneys.
And they work real hard.
They do. They do. Yeah.
Amazing people. So
Good Harvest is pretty decent food. Good Harvest.
I did that.
One of my favorite restaurants though is the Rice Bowl up in Brookings. Love the Rice Bowl.
No, the new Kuntai here.
I'm not a big Kuntai fan.
Oh, you're crazy.
It's not spicy enough.
Well, that's why
I have to bring my own. No, well, they have hot sauce.
Exactly.
I have to bring my own.
Exactly. Well, because we live in a society where if it says spicy on it and it's actually spicy, they're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah, right. Well,
so
we went down to
obviously you don't go in there enough, so they know that hey, You're crazy. You like it spicy. I want to sweat.
My cousin and I went down to Eureka a year and a half ago, and we were in this Mexican restaurant. It was really cool. I had this salsa brought out to me, and I'm eating it. And I was like, "Oh, do you have anything hotter?" And the lady looked at me like I was crazy. And so she brought me out this salsa that was a brownish color. Oh, it was amazing. I ate the whole thing. I'm sweating like sweat.
My dad always used to tell me, you judge a good meal by your sweat.
She said, "Oh, are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." She's like, "Well, you're melting." No, I'm fine. But hey, thank you, Ben, for coming out, and thank you, KFUG Radio. Thank you, listeners. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. We will have some more things for you next week. And hopefully, maybe we can even start getting some call-ins.
Yeah.
So we'll throw a phone number out there and see.
And I hear it's gonna be wet for the weekend.
Till Monday.
So stay dry out there.
Wet till Monday. So enjoy. We'll be in Coos Bay next weekend, shooting a video for my book series at some friend's house, and then that'll be on the air as well, or it'll be on the internet on Facebook and on YouTube. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for showing, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Nice. Tuesday and Thursday
Bam.
nights.
Sweet. Right.